You are listening to Woman, the show for women by women. And I am Chrishna Bowe, your host for this evening. We are talking about romance and physical intimacy in a marriage. And if you're interested in being a part of this discussion, you can call us at 351-6176. Again, that's 351-6176. And I'm going to continue with our discussion. We were just about to get into the benefits for a husband when there is a high level of intimacy in the marriage. And I'd like to just quote a scripture because, God is very, very concerned about the level of intimacy in our marriages. And there are actually scriptures in his word that give us some guidance. And one of them is 1 Corinthians 7:2. And it says, "Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband." Okay, and sometimes, we read these scriptures and they kind of just fly over our heads. But God is so wise, as I always say, and He has given us these instructions for a reason. And I say that scripture because women need to realize that it is our duty, as I said earlier, to ensure that to the best of our ability, we maintain a high level of physical intimacy in our marriages. Now, we know that this can benefit our husbands in a lot of different ways. And the first benefit that a man can experience is the release of tension buildup. This is physical. Physical intimacy is physical for men. Most of it is physical for them, and it is how they were created by the Lord God Almighty. And they need to have that tension build up that is created in their body. And listen, this is biological, women. This is actually biological. That tension needs to be released. And the Lord has created an avenue by which it can be in the body of a man. And we as wives can assist them with that. So the first benefit that a man can really have from having a high level of intimacy in his marriage is the release of that buildup. And when that release is given, a man even becomes less tense because that tension that has been built up physically, it now dissipates. So that is the first benefit for our husbands. And another benefit is that husband can really gain an even greater love and appreciation for his wife because sometimes, there is nothing can replace physical intimacy. That's really the bottom line. Nothing can replace that in a marriage. And when we as women take the time to please our men, they appreciate that and they love us for that because they can see that, we're making an effort to take care of their needs and not just really taking care of our own or being consumed with just our own personal issues and problems, but that we are actually making the sacrifices and taking time to really pay attention and do our part in the intimate part of the marriage. And the last benefit and a very huge benefit, because ladies, again, I'm not trying to fake the funk here. We are keeping it real on this show. And this last benefit is that we ensure with a high level of physical intimacy in our marriage, we ensure that our husbands are physically satisfied. Now, I am speaking generally, of course, and unfortunately, there will be men who will never be satisfied, but that is not the problem that we are addressing today. I'm speaking generally about a man who you would have married and hope that overall this is a good guy. So by providing a high level of physical intimacy and meeting the needs of our husband, he is a physically satisfied individual. And this works really well for everyone involved. For him, it can provide less temptation because, Satan comes at us where we're most vulnerable. But when our needs are being met, the temptation becomes so much easier to bear. Because listen, we know the women out there, right? They looking fine, they smelling fine, and guess what? Some of them, they aiming to actually target the married men. So when we keep our man satisfied, the reality of it is, ladies, it works. It works in the favor of our marriage, and it can ultimately combat infidelity because, when you create holes or like I said, vulnerabilities in your marriage, that is the opening that Satan tries to squeeze his way through. So if you have a little deficiency in the physical intimacy of your marriage, then guess what? That is the route which Satan is going to try to get at your husband at, so that he can create havoc and turmoil. So, we cannot forget how important it is to keep our man satisfied. I'm not saying that it will totally eradicate adultery or infidelity, but it can certainly go a long ways to decreasing it. So, you've heard a man say before, they ain't getting none at home, so they go outside. Again, that is not the right approach to take. However, we do have a responsibility to ensure that they are being satisfied at home. Therefore, making it less tempting to go outside of the home to seek that type of satisfaction. So, the time is winding down. It goes so quickly. Again, if you have a question or comment, you can call at 351-6176. And we are discussing today romance and physical intimacy in the marriage. Now, I'm just going to quickly go through some ideas and suggestions that are actually in my book, the book that I mentioned earlier, Woman to Woman, We've Been Duped. There is an entire chapter dedicated to sex and romance in this book. And in that chapter, there are some tips. Like I say in the book, some of them I've tried personally because I am a married woman of 20 years and some have not. So I'm going to go ahead and give you those tips. Tip 1, make a date night. It's so hectic. Life is so hectic and we get lost. So let's set aside a time where there's no children, no phones, just time to be alone with our husbands. And for working wives and busy wives, we want to pre-plan this, because if you don't pre-plan it, ladies, it ain't going to happen. So that's the first tip. I have a call on the line, so I'll break to go to that caller. Welcome to Woman caller. How are you?
Hi. Hi, Krishna.
Hi. How you doing?
Doing well.
Good.
I was excited about your show from last week.
Good. Me too.
Hearing all those men calling, which is good.
Yes.
A band for those men.
Yes.
I went to say, I heard the callers today, and then I heard your statement and the benefits of, having sex in a marriage for the man. But I say to all women, I must be cut off a different fabric, because they may be made with silk, but give me polyester. I always tell women, if your husband needs sex, give it to him.
Right, I agree.
What is the longest it's going to take? 5 minutes?
Right, especially if you have a 7-Eleven action going on there.
So what is about the sex? When in the book of what's the love book? Songs of Solomon.
Right.
Reading Songs of Solomon, and how the woman, she was looking for her man, and she say how she searched through the city. That's a woman's job to get really, really intimate with her husband. But I don't know if the world has duped us that a man does that. I didn't marry a Frenchman. I marry a Bahamian.
Right.
And that of an Andrus Bahamian.
Yeah, that's correct.
He know about raising the chickens, mowing the lawn, cutting the grass, killing the cow for food, killing the pig for food. So I can't think I can put satin sheets on my bed, and he come in, and he can crawl up in my bed with satin sheets. All a man want to do now, give me some.
That's a point. Caller. But now we won't. We don't wanna.
We have in our Western world now, they on the construction field.
Right.
Some of them in the office, and they work hard because they mentally drained.
Yes.
So I tell my husband, I say, honey, even if my head hurting, we have children maybe listening. My stuff ain't hurting.
Right.
So it'll take you about 3 to 5 minutes. Let's do it.
Right.
I tell him, I shall holler. You ain't got to pay me. I shall holler. So 5 minutes, women.
Okay.
That's all he asked for.
Okay.
We marry Bahamian. Most of us marry Bahamian men. We didn't marry Frenchmen. The Love City.
Now, caller.
Women, give your husband what
now,
he
caller,
wants. I know we want a little whining and dining.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah, we
saying that
need
we
that,
can't get
caller.
that
We need
whining and
that.
dining.
We need that. Now, I must say, I totally give credit to what you're saying. And to a certain degree, I agree with you. And I call them the 7-Eleven nights, I think, as we've discussed before. And you know what you do with a 7-Eleven. You go, you get what you come for, and you leave, right? And that's all fine and good because there are those occasions when, listen, you're tired, he tired. Ain't nobody into all of that jive. You just want to do what you got to do and leave. However, I do not think that we have to ensure that that is not the norm. And there is definitely a place for romance and intimacy in a marriage. And as a man, and even as a woman, we do have to make the effort. Because if we do the slam bam, thank you, ma'am, too much, then what kind of physical intimacy are we going to have in the long run? So even though I do agree with you, and women, I do think that is a very good point. Sometimes you are dog tired, you got a headache. I mean, it really only can take you on 5 or 10 minutes. If your man really needs it, you just go ahead, do what you have to do, and be done with it. However, it cannot be the norm. And that is what...
It should not be the norm.
It should not be the norm, and that is what...
Every time when we speak of women or speak to the man always say, oh, she's always tired. So if 365 days, your man saying you tired.
But like I said, though...
What time are you going to give him
But again,
some?
caller, like I say, in the marriage, we do have to stress that the responsibility lies on both persons. Yeah. And if a woman is constantly saying she's tired, I need to know why your woman always tired. Why is this woman being overworked, which I think is a real possibility. Is she being overworked? And... does she have not even a moment to catch her breath? A woman ain't really a donkey. She ain't no animal. You can't just wake her. And then at the end of the night, you still want, you want your business. I mean, life just doesn't work that way. So if your woman always tired, then that's another issue because you need to figure out how you can stop your woman from being tired all the time. Because when you're married even a long time, you have to be careful with that level of intimacy because then it can become mundane, routine, boring, when you're with somebody for a very long time. So you do have to make that effort to intentionally spice up that bedroom, which is what I'm going to get back to. But caller, as always, I really, really appreciate your perspective and your thoughts, and it does give us a lot to think about. So women, that caller says sometimes takes 5-10 minutes. You just got to give it up and be done with it. So there is a time and a place to be that 7-Eleven. I agree. But on to tip 2, right? On to tip 2. The first was make a date night. Again, we're talking about romance and physical intimacy today. And the number to call if you need to ask a question or if you want to make a comment is 351-6176. And tip number 2 is to keep yourself appealing to your husband. So, okay, call, I'm coming right now. Wear the negligees and, the little nice, sexy PJs or anything that your husband really likes. Don't be afraid to wear those things that are provided women. Let me go to that caller. Good afternoon. You're on Woman to Woman. With whom am I speaking?
Hi, Miss Bowe.
Hi.
I am totally intrigued by this conversation.
So am I, right? We're talking about stuff that nobody talks about, right?
But I would really like to stress to men, women love physical intimacy. I love physical intimacy. I get what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, and you're saying, we must do all of these things. But guess what? Sometimes I don't want to do all of these things either. I want to get what you call the 7-Eleven. That's fine with me.
Right.
I want my husband to know that I relate with him when it comes to having this physical intimacy, and I want him to know that I'm sharing in this enjoyment along with him.
Right.
But like the last caller said, we don't have to have the silk sheets. I also need to have that too.
Right. That's why I said to her, there's a balance that has to be achieved.
I need to have the silk sheet. I could enjoy the 7-Eleven. Women, I think in the past, even I've heard comments that men make that we always have a headache, we always tired, we all these things, and I'm fully agreeing with you with the comments that you're making as far as intimacy is concerned. But to realize that we are totally enjoying physical intimacy as well, and if they can understand that this is not only about them,
right.
and that I am also taking part,
Oh,
then
yes.
it wouldn't be so much of the 7-Eleven, because I don't need 7-Eleven all day or
Right.
every day.
Right.
That's not something that I want to take part in every day.
Right.
So I think as a wife, men or husbands need to realize too that we're willing to meet them halfway, and we actually
Right.
enjoying this
Yes.
7-Eleven.
Right.
We actually enjoying that. But then now you have to meet me halfway.
Right.
And so now, one day out of the week, 7-Eleven, another day out of the week, some silk sheets.
Right. Which I think, and
You know,
Carla,
and
I agree with
everybody's
you.
happy.
I agree with you. I think that it's a
I
balance.
am totally intrigued by the conversation, because it's important that women and men understand that two becomes one
Yes.
during
Exactly.
7-Eleven and the silk sheets.
Yes. Thank you so much, Carla.
All right.
Again, that was another great perspective, and that is what is so good about having this type of show. We are really welcoming women's and men's thoughts and ideas because we learn from each other, and that is what we hope to achieve with this. So she had a really good point, basically that not every night you want a 7-Eleven. So I'm imploring both men and women to make the effort, because this show focuses on women. You may find that a lot of my views are coming from a female perspective, simply because the show is a show that is focused and is coming from a female perspective. But thank you so much. I thought that Carla had a lot to say. Now I'm going to finish up with my tips. And the last tip was keep yourself looking good for your man, women. Okay? To put it bluntly, keep yourself looking good. Don't let yourself get run down. Okay? Remember how you were when you got this man. And please try to keep that way so that you can keep this man. So be very, very aware of that, not only in public, but where it really matters most, which is in the bedroom. In the bedroom. No big T-shirts, no flannel nightgowns, and definitely no dusters, okay? Now, tip 3. It's important to listen to your husband's dislikes and likes about your appearance. React positively. If he says to you, honey, I really think... your shape, you look a little off in that particular dress. I mean, don't just fly off the handle, because you know how we women go, right? We get all hot and bothered, and sometimes we make a mountain out of a molehill. Correct, ladies? Yes, you can say correct. So, if he's giving you constructive criticism about your physical appearance, react positively. And sometimes, consider adjusting your wardrobe, because after all, I would think that the man that you married and the man that you love is the one that you really want to be physically appealing to. So listen and consider making the adjustments. He is, after all, the most important person in your life. So why wouldn't you want to be physically attractive to him? Now, tip 4. I said, if you can, you walk around the house in your birthday suit sometimes. A little change of pace. Just do something to rock the boat. A little different. You can serve dinner that way, or you could just, walk around and do a little dance. If you feel like doing a little dance, do a cartwheel, whatever it is that you can do. Feel free to wear your birthday suit in addition to all the other things that you wear sometimes. And again, this gets a little fire going. So we got to really be real about this and get down to earth, and really don't, even though we are believers, we must never forget that we have an obligation. And these are the things that will help keep things hot in the bedroom. Now, another thing we can do, after a long day, let him come home to a massage. Give him a massage. Get some oils. We have a store on Particular Choices. My good friend manages over there, and she has everything that you need. And you can get some oils, and you can give him a massage, or you can set that bubble bath, play the music. Just get him relaxed. Take the time to do that for him, and I'm sure he'll appreciate it. Now, another thing we can do, like I said, we put on some love music. Now, my fellow sisters in the Lord, I love you to death, but this is no time for gospel, okay? No time for gospel. So, please put on the nice, and we have a lot of nice love tunes that really just relax your mind. You ever notice how music just totally alters the mood that you're in? Well, this is also true for physical intimacy. So, get that radio going. You can also tell him that you love him at an unexpected time in the day. Now we got WhatsApp, we got Facebook, we got all this stuff, Send him a little message. Let him know you're thinking about him. Let him know you appreciate the fact that, he's a great father, or that he did A or that he did B. Call him, text him, do a little something out of the ordinary. I know our days are hectic and we get busy, but let's never ever forget that we want to make sure that the most important person in our life recognizes that he is just that. And we go on to another tip. You want to tell him how sexy he is. Comment on what you love physically about him. Flirt with your man shamelessly. He is yours, and you ain't got to be shy. He may not be Brad Pitt, but guess what? There was something that attracted you to him, wasn't there? So, say those things. Let him know, boy, those legs looking good, or man, that's a good looking behind you got there. Well, whatever. You have your little things that really, really attracted you to him initially, and you probably still find attractive about him. So say it. I know it is hard. This is another tip sometimes, to make an effort to think about your husband during the day. Start to think about being physically intimate, because then this gets your mind going. It starts gets you somewhat in the mood. You're kind of making the initiative to get yourself thinking about what is to come. A lot of times they say anticipation is everything. So, get your mind going, because ladies, we know that for us, everything is mental, right? So in considering that, do that. And then you can, if you feel like you would like to get yourself a love toy or something like that, hey, go ahead.
Yes, I'm hearing you giving these tips.
Oh, we have.
And I heard you mention a tip of serving dinner in your birthday suit. But women need to realize that before that can happen, they need to cook some dinner. Yeah, cook, take off those vampire nails, and learn to cook properly. That's what men need. That.
So, sorry, that disconnected, but I think, oh goodness, I think I heard what I needed to. But women, you heard that? Just like the women called early, and I was telling the guys, you heard that? I'm saying now, women, you heard that? The man says you need to cook. So before you get into your birthday suit, as I suggested earlier, he would like a meal first. So, that's a topic for another day, right? But it's very important that we take care of our families, and a part of that is feeding our men physically as well. So thank you for your input, caller. That definitely put a different take on things. So cook first, birthday suit later. Now, I was about to tell you that you can also buy yourself a love toy. They got all kind of stuff now. They got all these love games. They got the oils, the massage lotions. And listen, you name it, they have things just to, again, add a bit of interest. I know that there's a store here on the island, like I said, and really you can find a lot of things that are quite decent and that can really make it fun. They have a lot of even games, and then they have boxes with little tips of what you can do throughout the week, and just the resources are there, people, and we just need to use them. So be adventurous and go over there to Choices and check out some of the selection and see what she has. Now I have 3 more tips for you ladies, and I'm gonna make them quick. Sometimes we need to plan a romantic rendezvous somewhere different. It can get boring again and mundane. It's always the same place. You're always home. Get a different venue. You ever notice, when you travel just right away, you get in a better mood? And I think it's because as human beings, we just need a change of pace sometimes. So it's no different for keeping the romance alive in our marriages. We need a change of pace. So you can, orchestrate a romantic rendezvous, like I said, somewhere different. Maybe you could just rent a local hotel room for the night, or you can go for a picnic on a secluded beach. Think outside the box, be creative, and even if your budget allows, you can go for a weekend getaway. That's my next tip. Plan a vacation, just you and your man. It puts me to mind about me and my husband when we go on vacation with our kids, of which we have 3. When we come back from vacation, we feel like we need another vacation. Because those children done run us so ragged, and children so selfish. We all about doing what they want to do all the time, and you want to do something for yourself, and they mad. And well, we know how it goes. Those of us that are parents, we know how it goes. So if we can afford it, we need to plan our own vacation when we can just concentrate on each other. Have those talks, not be on edge when we are physically intimate. Have some freedom. So let's just plan that vacation and that weekend getaway, because it can do wonders to rejuvenate our love lives. And lastly, have some random stuff going on. Maybe be physically intimate at a different time. What about getting together at lunchtime, or just again thinking outside of the box? And you may say these things sound so simple, but guess what? They can really, really spice up things and really, enhance our experience as a married couple. So do that, when the kids are at school, maybe if you can, take a little advantage of that. Or maybe wake up a little earlier, switch up the routine a bit, so that the lovemaking doesn't become so blah. So they would, that's a final tip that I'm giving today, ladies. Like I said, some of them I've tried, some of them I haven't, but hey, good luck. And blessings go with you as you incorporate these tips into your overall life. Now I know my time is up. And so I just want to end the show by saying that, we forget that even above the resources that I mentioned earlier, and this is especially targeted at wives that are believers, there is an awesome resource that we have at our disposal 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And guess what that is, ladies? It's prayer. And I know it may sound silly and off the wall, but listen, I've done it. Pray for your physical relationship with your husband. Pray about it. Pray that Satan finds no openings. Pray that you remain physically attracted to your husband. Pray that your husband remains physically attracted to you. Pray that y'all become even closer and even more intimate as the time goes on. So I just want to end with that and let you know that we cannot neglect that resource. Prayer is powerful, people. It changes things. The Bible says pray without ceasing, and we cannot forget to pray for these things in our lives, because these things really matter. If our child is sick or if something is wrong, we pray. Right now, our prayers are with the hurricane victims, and we issue out prayers for all of these things, but then we don't issue out prayers for the things that are happening in our own lives. So I just want to encourage you to do that. And our prayers, like I said, and our thoughts go out to the families of Hurricane Joaquin. We are continuing to keep you in prayer. I couldn't end the show without mentioning them. Such a devastation, but God is still on the throne. I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful that as to date, there have been no lives that we can report that have been lost. And that is just phenomenal, because the strength of that storm, it's it's unheard of for lives not to be lost. But again, even amidst this, God is working for us. So we will continue to pray for you. I want to again thank my sponsors, Simply the Best, and that's Clifford Bowe over there in the Mareport building, multimedia audio-visual company. And then I want to thank Hair Dimensions, which is the store that will bring your hair to life on Coral Road, 351-1082 for the place to go for all your hair products and accessories, your wigs, Remy, extensions, you name it, ladies, they have got it. So thank you very much. Until next time, same place next week, woman to woman. Thank you very much for listening. Blessings, my sisters and brothers.